Cupid and my campasp played, at cards for kisses Cupid paid. He stakes his quiver, bow and arrows, his mother's doves and team of sparrows, loses them too. Then down he throws the coral on his lip, the rose growing on's cheek, but none knows how. With these the crystal on his brow, and then the dimple on his chin, all these did my campasp win. At last he set her both his eyes, she won, and Cupid blind did rise. O love, has she done this to thee? What shall alas become of me? And that was for today, National Poetry Day. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a poem by John Lilly, I think, a playwright from the latter half of the 16th century. I thought I'd give you that one because people are reciting some wonderful poems today for National Poetry Day, but I thought I'd give you something a little bit out of the ordinary, a little bit older, maybe a contemporary of the great William himself. I can give you a bit of William if you like, but I'm trying to keep the the video short. I could give you, you know, the old shall I compare thee, stop it really, shall I compare thee to a summer's day, blah blah blah. I could give you the prologue from Henry V. Oh, for a muse of fire, not a poem but verse, you know. Or of course, all of our favourite Richard III, of course. Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this son of York and all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasings of a lute. I'll stop there. As you can tell, I love my poetry. Cupid and my campasp played, I think, is from one of my favourite books. If I was on Desert Island Discs, the one I'd be taking with me, along with the Bible, which of course you have to take. And I've noticed quite a lot of previous guests choose this one, which is Paul Graves' Golden Treasury of Poems. I have many different copies, and a digital copy, of course. And of course I have my Shakespeare collections and compendiums. Anyway, all wonderful stuff. So I hope you enjoyed that. I tried to remember it. I've had COVID for the past couple of weeks, so I'm suffering from severe COVID brain fog, along with constant fatigue. So while I was still awake, I thought I'd make this video because I haven't made one for a while. Every time I wanted to, I've either been ill or something's cropped up, and I've just haven't had time to and the wherewithal to, really. So yes, a lot's happened since the last video. We have a new Prime Minister, by the looks of it soon to be an ex-Prime Minister already, one way or another. Whether that be leaving office because they're forced to, and replaced, or we have an early general election. I think either way, if she's still in office for much longer, I don't think she's going to be at the at the helm in reality. I think wiser heads than hers, which, let's face it, are going to be most within the Conservative Party. I never thought I'd say that. Never thought I'd say that. Will prevail. and one way or another they'll probably use their internal mechanisms to dilute any power that she or Kwasi Kwarteng have after what they've done. The reputational damage, of course, is there now. So reversing policy, it's too late. It's been done. The confidence in their leadership is a done deal. It's not there anymore. So that's going to be a problem going forward, of course. I can't see that she's said or done anything from the Tory party conference, which I've been following, to increase confidence anywhere, not even within the party. I think the Tories must have resigned themselves to the fact that unless something drastic happens whenever the next general election is, which I can't believe is going to be 2 years away now, it's going to have to be before that. Even Nadine Dorries is calling for it. So I think many of the higher ups in the Conservative Party realise that's the only way to really sort of sort this mess out. I think they've concerned themselves to the reality that unless something drastic happens, it's going to be a Labour Starmer win government, and I think it's pretty clear from watching what's been going on at the Mail, even the Telegraph, the Conservative papers, the most law Conservative papers, the mainstream media, if you like, BBC, etc., that are following the Starmer speech at the Labour Party conference, where it was at pains to tell them that he and his version of Labour are safe. What the establishment wants will be in safe hands with Starmer and his Labour Party, much as Blair did back in the mid to late 1990s. I think that's why it seems to be that, to me, that the media are very comfortable in attacking Truss because they're happy to have Starmer take over. Starmer's Labour to take over. I'm I'm an ex-Labour councillor and an ex-independent councillor. I know you must know if you follow politics as much as I do, which is every single day, both sides, or LBC, GB News, the left-wing stuff. I follow all of it. I'm not partisan in my selection of information, because I like to know what everybody's thinking, what's going on in the minds of those that I don't agree with and those that I do agree with, and I think that's the only way to do it, really, to try and build an accurate assessment of what's going on and what might be coming up next. I think I don't think we're going to have to wait 2 years for a general election. We've already got a lame duck new Prime Minister and Chancellor. A Chancellor, by the way, who I have known about for years, when he used to turn up quite regularly on the BBC Question Time, when he was rolled out by Tory HQ to sort of field and try and explain very unpopular austerity policy at the time. And I must say he did a particularly poor job each time when I watched. He didn't seem to have any of the skills that you expect politicians at that level to have in at least deflecting, answering their own questions rather than the questions of the the chair of the panel or the public. So I was very surprised to hear that she appointed him as Chancellor. That was a bit of a double whammy, actually. I was floored a bit for I think that half of the day, and that she was Prime Minister at all as well. So yeah, very interesting. We can't say we don't live in interesting times, can we? Because we certainly do. Politically, of course, socially, with everything that's going on, the pandemic, trying to have a post-pandemic recovery for everybody, then straight into a cost of living crisis. The government, Johnson and now Truss is having absolutely no answers whatsoever. The Truss not even appearing to try and alleviate the issues. Okay, an effective cap on energy bills, where you're still going to be paying double. So where I live, paying double, well, that doesn't help. That's this poor, very poor part of the country where a lot of people are on carbon meters and prepaid meters because they could barely afford their energy costs in the first place. Doubling it doesn't help at all. Useless for those struggling already. So yeah, it's interesting to watch, a bit scary to watch when you're here down at the bottom economically. Pretty terrible. We're rather used to it though, weary of this sort of thing over the past 12 years of Tory cuts, austerity, whatever you want to call it. Shrinking of the state, reform is the euphemism, isn't it? I mean, we've had it again. She wants to reform the benefit system. Well, people down here where I am, and people who have had to rely on it, unfortunately, to survive, we know exactly what that means. We know what reform that means. People trying to get disability benefits, who are dicked about for a year and a half, 18 months to put them off. Before they get to tribunal, where it's usually overturned and they get what they're supposed to have been provided by the government a year and a half, 18 months before, are going to be, going to find it even harder. People on universal credit are going to be sanctioned more, which means their money's taken away from the money they heat with will be taken from them completely. They have no other recourse than food banks, no way of heating. So, unless you've gone through it, you don't really understand. It's a bit like reading about, it's about like reading about colonialism in India or Africa, or even reading about something and then living it, having to survive through it is a different thing. So people here are scared. People are talking about it a lot. And these are people who previously were staunch Boris fans and supporters. Working class people, I'm talking about poor working class people. But all that's completely gone. It's over, finished. None of them wanted Liz Truss. Not one. I can't see where the votes are going to come from, even before she did what she did. And even before she's proven herself to be quite as inept and politically tone deaf and just purely narcissistic. You expect politicians to have some level of narcissism, but I mean, we've had Boris with his levels of delusion and narcissism, and then Liz Truss, who's even further along, further gone, and Kwasi Kwarteng, who just seems to be, as his friends, his banker friends, call him, the useful idiot. And I can't really disagree with that one from what I've seen, to be honest. So the reputation's gone already. The reputation's gone. It's gone. You can't do anything about it, especially when you're in charge of an entire country and a government, and at this time, with everything that's going on and gone on. So, very interesting. pretty scary from where I sit. And I don't really know what's going to happen from this point onwards. I'm not quite sure. Which I don't often say that to people, because people are always asking me, what I think is going to happen, and I'm saying to them at the moment, I don't actually know. I can't really give you an accurate guess really what's going to happen. I know what I'd like to happen and should happen, which is we need a general election. That's the only way to sort this all out, finally. But how much that will help, really, I don't know. I think you'll have a bit more confidence in the government, and because they're not going to have a drastic, stupid policies that shafts the majority of the 64 million people that live in this country, and benefit the very few people that live in this country, even if they do. So I think that would help. But then how much current Labour policy, social policy, would alleviate any of the problems in the areas that I sort of live and have represented, I doubt. I really don't. I really doubt it. I really doubt it. Again, having been a Labour councillor, I really doubt it, to be honest with you. But anyway, I haven't even gotten into the Queen passing, which has happened since the last video, and a new king and everything. I'm a Republican personally, but I respect other people's feelings during the last, was it now 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Is it a month even already? Since the Queen passed away. Whether Charles will have the respect the Queen did, I highly doubt. I think he's playing it very carefully, because I think he realises how precarious it all is at the minute. That he's not the Queen. He doesn't command the respect that the Queen does, in the same way none of his brothers do. I think most people, including myself, if we have to have a monarch, would have preferred Princess Anne, to be honest. And a lot of people have said that to me out and about. They would have preferred Princess Anne, because at least Princess Anne doesn't seem to get herself into the headlines doing things she shouldn't be doing, behaving in certain ways. She just gets on with the job, very much like her mother, the Queen, did. So if we have to have one, that's who I'd prefer, to be honest with you. Even over Wills and Kate, I think I'd prefer Queen Anne. Another Queen Anne, there we are. So anyway, that's nearly 20 minutes of me rambling. No, I won't submit it to another poem. I was thinking about it, but I won't. Have a nice day, or the rest of the day. Have a nice weekend. I hope the weather's a bit better than it's been here. I'm on the North Wales coast, so it's changed every single 3 hours, 4 hours. Mostly rain, mostly blowing a gale. Very gloomy. The last couple of days hasn't helped my illness and getting over it. But hey ho, that's life on the coast in winter time. Winter time. So thanks for watching. Please comment down below. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It would really help. Click the little bell, and let's see what happens. And I'll see you hopefully a bit sooner than the last time to now. So ciao for now. Take care. Bye bye.